Hi guys, welcome back. My name's Amanda, for those of you that are new, and for those that have returned, welcome again. And looking behind me, we've obviously worked out that I'm back inside. It's cold. So I'm in the nook again, once again, at the end of the kitchen, and this is where I store all of the items that I've been canning and dehydrating, and where I stock all of my accessories that I use for canning so they don't take up all the space in the kitchen. Now, what's behind me has come out of our vegetable garden and the fruit trees, as well as some local produce as well that's been purchased at different places, either at the local farms or at the markets or at the local outlets where we're able to source some of the bulk items, like those big cans of tomatoes. There's one behind me. I have 30 of those to deal with. Which is fine because I use 2 of those to make a tomato soup, which is quick and easy, doesn't use much power, which is amazing because they've already been processed. So it saves me so much time. So yes, I do recan some of the bigger items. It saves money, it saves power and time. Just in time, it's just so much easier to grab a really large can of something or even small cans and use those to make meals, which is really efficient energy-wise, as well as time and power cost. So let's have a look on the shelves at a few of the items that I have, and we'll discuss why I can them. Simple. Okay, so we have salsa. What canner doesn't do salsa? Salsa gets used for everything. But what I do can is, people often ask me why, because they're so cheap. Carrots and sweet potatoes. 1, we grow them and we have excess of them, so they do need to get used. And 2, they've already been processed now. They've been peeled, chopped, ready to add to soups, ready to puree, ready to add to a carrot cake. Anything I need to do, and the time and the power costs that will happen, not to mention heating of the house. I don't have to do that during summer anymore. Apples are pureed for baby food and muffins. I actually need 2 of these for muffins later today, so I need to get 2 of those off the shelf. And once again, I'm down to 1 jar. That's just not going to work. So, yeah, I do. I have. This is the large can of apples that I purchased from a outlet that's not far from us. When I say not far, I mean a 40-minute drive, and we purchase a few of these and have them in the cupboard so that I can have apples all year round as well. They're already processed, so it saves me money. I don't have to peel them. I don't have to cook them. All I need to do now is reheat them, blend them up, and put them into jars. That's dehydrated products up above there that has been used also from the garden. Celery, green onions, mushrooms, shallots, and more green onions, and more cans of the big tomatoes. This is one of the pantries that I have, just with all of the ingredients that are used in canning, typically your molasses, citric acid, lemon juices, pectin powder that I use for jams, honey instead of sugar, vanilla paste to go into yogurts, etc., and coconut milk to make the coconut yogurt as well. Okay, back to the shelves. Lots of strawberries, because it's strawberry season, and so strawberries are really cheap to buy for us and much cheaper than it is for me to have to grow them. So I can buy a flat of strawberries, which is 10 punnets or 5 kilos of strawberries, and it costs me next to no money, and I'm able to make lots of strawberry jams and conserves and strawberry sauces and whole strawberries to use later on to add to ice cream and yogurt. Now, another thing that's on the shelf that people often wonder why, and that's potatoes, because potatoes are so cheap and available all year round. People think, well, they're not cheap all year round. And when we grow our own, it makes a lot more sense for us to put them into jars. We can also purchase them from the local market as well, and buying them bulk is also cheaper. So I actually have a 25 kilo bag in my cupboard, which is just sprouted, that I need to process today and get them into jars as well. There's lots of corn. Again, a huge sale that was not far from us on fresh corn. So I dipped in and bought 2 20-kilo cases of corn, hold them all out, and have them in jars. Don't have many. And then these are our own that were grown in the gardens as well. So a few of those from last season, and we're just about getting ready to plant new corn for the next season. So our years of corn has just managed to get us through, which was 50 plants or 100 cobs. So I need to put some in again, because corn gets eaten pretty much every day. The cans of tomato gets turned into tomato soup. I have 1 bottle left of tomato soup, which will be used today. So I need to make more tomato soup. So I'm going to need 2 cans of tomato soup, which is great because I'm on the pantry challenge that a friend has put me in for. So for as long as possible, we are not allowed to purchase any items for the pantry. I can buy livestock food and animal food, but I'm not allowed to buy anything at all for the pantry or the household, which includes cleaning supplies. So luckily, I had all that stored up. Food-wise, I didn't. I wasn't prepared because there was no warning it was happening, and that's how it works. You don't get any warning. You get put into it and get told from this point forward you can't spend any money buying groceries. So hopefully you have stocked up well, and I'm pretty sure I have, because things keep arriving on my shelves and not disappearing because I'm processing the whole ingredients, including things like onions. I did do 20 plus kilos of onions recently. And again, you can buy onions all year round, but it's 40 degrees in summer here and I'm not cooking. I prefer not to. I prefer to have the food already prepared that I can just put it into a saucepan and it be done, or thrown on the barbecue. That can be drained and thrown on a barbecue. And it's a lot shorter cooking time, so we don't use as much gas for the barbecue cooking the onions, and I don't use as much time on a stove if I'm cooking caramelizing onions for whatever reason or adding to soups. If I'm going to make a soup, I simply need to grab a jar of onions, some capsicums from above, some stock from above that, some tomatoes, and possibly some chicken, and I've got myself a chicken soup. It's simple. So that's why it's an ingredient kitchen pantry shelf more than just looks beautiful, which it does, but it's a very utilised and used storage of all of our items, and it extends our growing periods. Like the garlic that I've been putting off for months, and I didn't want to dehydrate it and I didn't want to process it, but then unfortunately we've had so much rain that the winter crop here of garlic is not going to get us through the year. This is last year's, what's left of last year. The rest of it I've already used or processed, or it's in the freezer, or it's been used in stocks and things. But this is the end of it. So it's a white variety of garlic, just a soft neck, so it doesn't store particularly well anyway. But I've already had quite a few whole heads that have just turned to mush, and several that have started to sprout. And these don't feel all that great, but they still smell amazing. So they'll still pack a punch as far as, you know, the aromas that's needed. So I do have some really nice larger cloves that I will preserve whole, and the rest of them that I don't want to preserve whole once I get to this cleaning part of doing this, which will take me several hours. Once they've all been cleaned, and then I'll work out which ones are going to get chopped and put in the dehydrator and turned into garlic salt and garlic powder, or preserved just as dry garlic. Simple dehydrator. It's not hugely expensive, but it's very useful. It's got 2 more tiers as well, so there's 7 tiers in total that I use, and I make use of all of those tiers when I'm drying. So greens, parsleys, onions, all those kind of things all go into this dehydrator and get turned into powder, just using the little machine beside it to blitz them. Back to the pantry. So protein-wise, on the shelf, salmon, because it's the only meat-wise that I eat fish. So I always have salmon on the shelf, and salmon is hugely expensive to buy, and it comes all the way from a long way away. So I much prefer to make our own with Australian salmon. So although it is farm salmon, because it is Australian salmon, it's still Australian salmon. So I get a whole fish, I fillet it, I chop it all up, I put it into my jars, and I just pressure can them raw packed for 100 minutes, and I end up with beautiful salmon. Now there's different flavors that I add to it. Salt, peppers, lemons are the common ones, as well as some of them have liquid smoke in them as well. But they all have what they're written on. So they all go into soups. The texture of these is absolutely beautiful compared to canned salmon. I'll open up a jar and show you. So for those who are always wondering what pressure canned salmon looks like, sorry, that was garlic skins, what pressure canned salmon looks like, this is a jar that I opened up last night, and the texture is just amazing still. It's not all mush, it's not soft like a canned salmon. It's still got lots of texture in it. There's a nice whole piece. It's still got lots of texture to it. So it's perfect to be added to soups or toast or on top of bread rolls, for example. It is just delicious. So I will never buy salmon again. I will always make my own. It's beautiful. Sorry, I had to have some. Okay. Chicken, like I said, again, it's been processed, pressure canned. This is chicken thighs. Each can equals 500 grams. So very quick to take that out. It's called ugly chicken. Everybody who pressure cans knows what that is, that little tiny layer of chicken fat on the top. Doesn't bother me at all. Might bother some people, but it doesn't bother me. And then heat it up, it all just disappears, so it's perfect. And it's cooked, so it'll save a lot of time and energy to use that over summer. We're on solar panels here during the day, solar energy. So I do all of the cooking during the day, so it doesn't cost any money at all for me to pressure can for hours upon hours upon hours to make all of this. All it's doing is extending the life of all of the products that we've purchased or that we grow, and extending our shelf life for years on some of these items. Things that last for a long time are your jams, if they stay on your shelf for a long time, your jams, etc. These smaller pots and the smaller ones go into yogurt. When I make coconut yogurt, that's a perfect size to go into my yogurt, so I don't have to open up one of the larger jars. But the larger jars, they don't last very long here. They last about, my son would eat one of these in a week. So he loves strawberry jam, and it's strawberry season, so we're able to purchase a few. These go into ice cream when I make ice cream during summer. So it's another way to extend the seasonal and still have really nice fruit all year round that doesn't cost a fortune. So that's why I do it. Same with the potatoes, canning the potatoes. It's also economical. Back to the shelf. Veggie stocks, onion stocks, chicken stock and beef stock. That's just something that has to be on the shelf. And they get used really frequently. So I've just done a batch of 20 more jars of chicken stock up. Bolognese sauce. I have two different bolognese sauce. This one is the bolognese sauce that's made with pork and beef. So it's a combination. And then that just gets added directly to pasta. And they're in these little tiny Salisbury, well, not tiny, they're smaller, jars or bottles. And these are Salisbury & Co. jars, which I love because they've got the grips. You might be able to see the detail there, the grip on the sides of them, which makes getting them off the shelf so much safer to do because of that grip. It's easier to grip the jar and they don't slip out of my hands. So that's a really good, and I love them. There's the round ones there with the stock. So that's the bolognese. And I've also got some larger jars of the bolognese. Also got some jewfish and some fresh mullet all caught out in the bay. So that's fresh fish that's been stored as well. So it's a white fish. Pumpkin soup and pumpkin puree. This is actually butternut pumpkin that was preserved and canned in whole. And I'll show you how this was done. So it was just diced and it was cooked the way, as you can see, that it's recommended in the books to do. So not canning a puree, just canning the chunks of butternut pumpkin, which I did all that. No other ingredients in that except for stock. Now, give it a shake. And you've got pumpkin puree, which is great because this is ready just to go straight into a soup with all of the other ingredients off the shelf. And I've got myself instant pumpkin soup that doesn't require much processing. This is Thai pumpkin soup. Again, it has been blended, but it's liquid. And it's more liquid actually than what the puree is once it's all the pumpkin cubes are, once it's been shaken up. Remembering these are butternut pumpkins. These are our butternut pumpkins that have been growing in the garden. So they are fresh butternut pumpkins and seasonal. So I'm only storing a few butternut pumpkins whole this year, although we still have plants growing. So we will still have more to come. Okay, for the children and for the sweet people who need their fruit, we've got apples, pears, berries, raspberries, blueberries, and mulberries. Lemon butter and lemon curd, which has come directly from our lemons out in the garden because it's seasoned throughout winter for our lemons to ripen. They've just finished and I've just bottled the last of the lemon juice ready for use throughout the year. The lemon butter is able to be stored for 3 months on the shelf. Never lasts that long, and I, at the end of this season, have got 8 jars at the moment. Every time I make a lemon and poppy seed tea cake, it uses one of these jars. So once again, with the pantry challenge, by the end of the day, I'm going to be short a jar of lemon butter, short 2 jars of apple, short 2 cans of tomatoes, plus onions, carrots, capsicum, and several jars of vegetable stock. So gives me some jars to free up so I can add back to my pantries. What else is on the shelf? We have potato and ham soup. This is a delicious soup that just needs to have some dairy added to it when it's opened from the jar. The men eat this one in the house, so it's perfect for them. Pumpkin and potato soup, a Thai pumpkin soup, as you can see the stock at the top, so it's still quite liquidy. And then this one is a pumpkin soup, a vegetable soup with pumpkin, and this particular one is based on a bauble recipe, so it just thickened quite a bit. It's very cold here, so it's a bit hard to tell how thick things are because it's very cold, so a lot of these jars are thicker than what they normally are. Chicken casserole, this one is one of the recipes that is from one of my homesteading books, so it's got all the vegetables in it, it's got chicken thighs in it, lovely rich casserole flavouring to it as well, and all of those have been pressure canned ready just to be added with some mashed potatoes, which again, just grab a jar off the shelf of potatoes and cook them up. Baked beans, yes, they're just about finished too. At the end of this winter, I've got 4 jars left to go through. It'll be 3 jars by tomorrow because one of those are heading to the fridge as well to go with some gluten-free bread that's getting baked at the moment. Vegetable stock at the top, and the vegetable stock varies depending on what is growing in the garden. Sometimes it has more of one thing than another. And in that case, that one had less onions in it and probably more greens in it. Some corn relishes to go with silverside and ham, and that over summer. So that's just resting for a couple of months until it's ready. Same with the golden pickles as well. The caramelised onion jam, however, that's disappearing quite quickly. I think these are the last jars that are left. So we've gone through quite a bit of that as well. And it's perfect on crackers or toast, etc. And like I said, I've got to get onto the garlic and do some dehydrating. So with the dehydrating is everything out of the garden as well. There are also peaches and pickled onions on the shelves, ruby grapefruit from the garden, capsicums. My small jars hold 1 capsicum, 1 large capsicum or bell pepper, and the larger jars hold 2. So it makes it easy for me when I'm doing recipes if I need 1 or 2 of something. Same with the onions. The small jars have got 1 onion in them. Most of them have 2 because usually we would use 2 onions. Some sweet chili dipping sauce as well. And that's just about what's in this side of the pantry, which is the canning side. I'm not going to go into the dehydrating area as well. I do have a second cupboard that's got my excess onions in it. Now, all of these are checked regularly. I go through and check the tops a couple of times a month of all of the jars to make sure that there's no problems, that none of the seals have broken or anything like that. These ones were pressure canned at the beginning of July for 40 minutes without any salt. So I actually write on my lids everything that I do, how the timing, whether they've got salt in them or not. And generally I like to add salt to my ingredient jars just because it makes it easier for me when I'm cooking recipes to make sure that I know how much salt is in something. And then all my jars and my lids and all the excess chicken stock. Yep, chicken stock. So this has been pressure canned for 20 minutes. I did cook the chicken stock, however, for 12 hours prior, and then chill it, take off the fat, and then strain it. And so made this lovely rich chicken stock. And that was made only a week or so ago, 23rd of July, yeah, a bit over a week ago. That's my gluten-free flour that's been made up as well. So yeah, that is the pantry. I have a resource area where I have all of my books, where I get all my recipes from, or my recipe ideas from. Your standard diaries like your ball book, etc., and your So Easy to Preserve book. A few extra little things. The mineral oils used for our fresh eggs. We coat the eggs, any eggs that we wash, with the mineral oil, and it preserves their life up to 6 to 9 months, which is really good in the fridge. That's 6 to 9 months, so that we have eggs all year round. We never have a shortage of eggs. Tomato juicer, must-have item in the garden, in my opinion, when you're cooking off tomatoes or onions or anything that you want to get the seeds and the skin away from. So it's a must-have item, as is a little portable pressure sealer machine. Use that for everything as well. especially the dry goods that are stored here. Now, people often wonder about the window with the canning jars, whether it affects them. The answer is no. I have lights on here at the moment in order to brighten this room up, but that is one of the only 2 windows on the far back of the property that we have, so I'm not going to close it, but I do have a blind that I pull down during summer, but it's winter and it's 10 degrees here and it's cold, so I need to have some light in the house or it's just terrible. Light off, and as you can see, it gets dark really quickly. And so the shelves themselves are not getting direct sunlight. They are getting filtered light, so they are getting ambient light, but they're not, you can see how dark they are, but they're not getting bright light directly on them. That side gets some direct light, but it's not direct sun. And like I said, there's a blind that goes over. I just happen to have shears on it at the moment to make things a bit easier. And there's a few of my canned items that need to be dealt with. So I need 2 of those cans as well to make the tomato soup today. So I've got a few jobs to do. Garlic first, and while the tomato soup is cooking on the stove, I'll start peeling the garlic. Okay, thanks for joining me. Interesting little pantry walkthrough. This is just the canning pantry. Like I said, because we're doing the pantry challenge, my cupboards are actually full. They always are, because we're on a property and we don't go into town to go shopping regularly. So I do a shop every few months, maybe. So it's not uncommon for me not to go near a grocery store, but to get fresh milk or dairy products, for example. We've stocked up with UHD anyway. I already had them on the shelves because we lost power for 8 days, 9 days after the cyclone. And so since then, I've been keeping the shelves full just in case of emergencies, and also after 2020, also like to keep a reasonably full pantry. Now, everything you're seeing on these shelves has been created in the past 6 months. This is new rotation stock, which is why we do a pantry challenge. We rotate our stock. So the point is to try to use as much products that are on these shelves that are 3 to 6 months old and replenish them with fresh items. The lemon butter only lasts 3 months on the shelf anyway, so all of that has to be consumed or transferred into some other way of preserving it. So it's either got to go into the freezer if there's any left, or gifted to friends quickly and let them eat them on family, but it won't last that long. But it's only a couple of weeks old now, so it's not going to last very long, versus peaches and things like that last, a year. So it's no problems. But anything on the shelf that is older, and this is a couple of years old. Well, a couple of years, I mean, maybe 3 or 4 years old. But it's still beautiful. It tastes lovely. There's nothing wrong with it. I haven't died yet. But again, it's mostly vinegar. So it can stay on the shelf. It's not a problem. Versus other things will change colour over time, and other things you just don't want to keep. I certainly don't keep seafood for more than a year. It wouldn't even be that. 3 months maybe. I think the oldest jar on the shelf here may be 3 months, back in May. So maybe 3 months. Yeah, May, June, July. So, yeah, they're not that old. 3 months for this salmon. The chicken's a little bit older, but again, not that much older. It's 3 months old. It's not too bad. Stocks and things are probably older. The corn's probably older because that is last year's seasonal corn. But yeah, so the idea is to do rotation, and that's what I'm trying to do by doing the challenge. And I must thank my friend for lobbing me into that. All right, that's the video for today. Thanks for joining me. I need to get on to some peeling of some garlic, getting some tomato soup on the stove, and getting the cake into the oven. Alrighty-o now. Thanks for joining me. Bye now. I hope you enjoyed that little tour of this canning pantry. If you did, leave a comment. If there's anything that you're curious about, leave a comment, and you'll find lots of videos on how I go about making the potatoes, etc., which are perfect as a baked potato, or you can mash them, you can roast them, you can fry them. There's lots to be done with the potatoes that have been pressure canned. So it's a great use of resources, and that reminds me I need to get onto the potatoes as well. So it's a busy day. Okay, bye now.